You'll see when I upload it to YouTube what I'm talking.
Okay,
but,
sure.
Yes. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrashers Paradise. I know I haven't done an interview in a while, but I'm back with a very special guest, or guests, all the way from an unknown part in Alberta, from what I've been told.
Secret.
It's top secret. We are joined with, I gotta
Jason.
scroll. We're joined with Jason and Wally of Sadistic Embodiment, who
Close.
will be
Almost.
Sadistic embodiment.
Sadistic embodiment.
sadistic.
There we go.
Damn it, Colin. Sadistic Embodiment.
Take two?
Why-
Yeah.
Take two, yes. Why is it always the Alberta bands? I mess up their names.
It
The
happens.
Quebec bands, I kind of understand why I messed them up, but the Alberta bands, I don't know. Well, I interviewed Hyperia, and I first called him Hypira.
I bet they love that.
Yes, it's now a running joke between us all that I forgot.
It's all right. We'll just start calling ourselves Sadistic Embodiment,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
it'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
We'll
just have to
someone introduce
immerse
ourselves on
ourselves.
our next show.
Yeah.
And then you'll be technically correct.
Yeah.
With that out of the way, we're joined with Sadistic Embodiment, all the
There
way
we go.
from Alberta. They will be releasing their first full-length album come September 18th, Bloodspell. Let's dive right into the questioning. What's it like to be releasing your first full-length after 3 EPs?
It's good. It's good. I feel like it's been leading up to this whole time, so we kind of released some little bits and pieces there, and now we're kind of releasing the first sort of cohesive realization of our music, rather than like bite sizes. It's kind of been like appetizers up to this point, so it's nice to release something that's actually got some meat in it.
Yeah. Not just little teasers, just like you said, right? So,
Yeah.
which is good.
So if you think about it, like with the last 3 EPs, we had like 4 songs on each EP, and this is a 9-song full length. So this full length almost has as many songs as all of our previous material combined.
Yeah. So technically, if you want to call it that way, like we got, the best off right now as well, which is perfect.
Absolutely.
Yes. What makes this album that will be releasing soon different compared to the EPs, besides having more songs?
For me, the biggest thing for us was the vocal lineup change that we did. The last 3 EPs, we did have one vocalist, like one main vocalist, and then all of us kind of did backing vocals. Unfortunately, we did part ways with our main vocalist prior to recording this album. We were kind of already started, but we parted ways kind of near the start of it.
Yeah.
And so between myself, Wally, and Curtis, the bass player, we decided to take up vocal duties. So all 3 of us pretty much do vocals all the way across the album. Wally has a song or a couple of songs he does main vocals on. I've got one and a half I do main vocals on. Curtis is the main one.
It's a lot more like a trifecta, like a chimera of vocals now. So rather than getting like one sort of cohesive like front member on the album, you have kind of smatterings of all of us all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
So it's fun though. Quite the challenge as well, because like you're just trying to make sure everyone still does their part and still it blends well together. And thankfully, between the 3 of us up front, like it molds so well together. And it's like Wally said, trifecta of metal. It's great. So
yeah. Well, and after the first show, we played one show without our old vocalist, and we just kind of we dropped out kind of in the process of having that show, and so all of a sudden it was like, okay, we have a show in a week. The 3 of us have to come up with some, like, figure out how to do the songs and stuff. So it's like, okay, well, here's our set list. Okay, Curtis, you take these 3 songs because you're familiar with them. Jason, you confront these 2. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll take up these other 2.
Yeah.
And then after that show, we had so many people coming up to us being like, guys, that was unreal with the 3 of you doing that. It was so good. So I was like, well, I guess we'll just keep doing that.
Yeah, so, kind of went that way. So
So that's
in a way,
how
we were
ended up
forced
with.
into it. So it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, what was the biggest struggle when writing the album?
I'll let you start with that one.
The biggest struggle, probably, writing an album in the middle of a pandemic. So like we had finished most of it, I would say, last year, and I guess early this year we kind of finished.
Yeah, the writing process was all finished.
And then we were kind of finishing up vocals and solos, but then all this kind of happened, and it was like, okay, well, we got to try and finish this out. So we're still trying to be productive, but we're living in different cities under quarantine. And so we had to try and find time to come up or do things at home or, whatever, and figure that out, and just kind of finishing up and not losing the momentum of having been recording that album in the midst of the whole world shutting down. So
yeah, thankfully, we were able to send each other music via the internet. So we used it for other things than just porn, which is great. Porn and metal, that's our two main things right there. But there was times where Wally just couldn't make it up just due to the quarantine or just being busy with work. And he was like, hey, I just tracked it at home. Here he goes. This is what it is. And then when we finally could be in the same place at the same time, we just hammered in.
Yeah, exactly.
We went to town. I think we finished in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just solid.
Wow.
There
was a couple times where I came up every weekend for like that 1 month and just hammered it all.
He hated me for the longest time because we do all the in-house recording ourselves and stuff, and for me it was stressful a little bit because the other times it's just only 4 songs now. It's 9 songs we got to get finished by this time.
I guess that's a good point. That was, I think, the most challenging part was remaining creative over 9 songs and coming in. It's okay, we got to do another solo. All right, another solo. I'm just I got nothing, man. I don't even know what to play.
My fingers are bleeding.
Yeah. So, it was interesting. But I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think you did good.
Well, thankfully enough, thanks to our good friend, our mutual friend, John Asher, I was lucky enough to hear it, and it does sound amazing from what I heard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, this is one of the questions I did bring up to you that you do not know.
Okay.
Now, I found this recently. Now, you're primarily playing a lot of shows in Edmonton, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yep.
How the hell does Edmonton have such a phenomenal metal scene and it doesn't get talked about a lot? I'm being serious though. It's there's so many great metal bands from the city of Edmonton, and it's no one knows that this is even happening over there.
I think the problem is you've been in multiple bands over the years. I've been in multiple bands over the years. It's kind of hard to break out of Edmonton, because at least if you're in Vancouver and stuff, you're on those coastal cities or over in the Montreal scene and stuff like that. You're in bigger metropolitan areas, whereas Edmonton, you're kind of in a scene in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Right. Same with Calgary. Even the Edmonton and Calgary scenes don't mix that much.
No.
Right. So for us, going on a road trip to Red Deer in Calgary is a big thing, right? So I think there's lots of good stuff here. It's just it's not well known because nobody really gets out of Edmonton, and that's just kind of a quirk of being a Canadian metal band, I think, in general.
Yeah, unfortunately, the metal genre itself is just, especially in Edmonton, it's horrible.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you're a country guy or a rapper, you don't get noticed, unfortunately, right? So,
if you're in the States and stuff, let's say you're a band in California or something, you can travel to 4 or 5 major cities just within your one state. But in Edmonton, it's okay, let's travel 3 hours to go to one city, right? So.
Or we can just go to Sherwood Park.
I guess over in Ontario, you got a lot of stuff that's kind of there. But if you wanted to go to the west, it's okay, well, let's take 2 days to travel through Ontario just to get to the next city in the west. So, yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, there's lots of great bands in Edmonton. Some of my favorite bands.
Way to put us on the spot there, Colin. Jesus.
Sorry, I had to ask.
But thanks for the compliment.
Oh, you're welcome. Now back to the question. What did inspire the band to finally create a full length instead of a 4th EP?
It was always in the plans. From the day we decided that we wanted to be a band, thanks to our drummer Brian Newbury, he had a vision since day one. It's pretty much was himself, Curtis, and another member, original guitar player Helgi. That was their project. I was brought in a couple of months after it started, and then our vocalist Nate, who we did part ways with, like as I mentioned earlier, was brought in as the final piece of a 5-piece. And since day one, the plan was to do 3 EPs in a fast turnaround time.
I think we put out those. Well, I joined during the 3rd EP,
but the 2
just before the recording. So
2 were done,
and those were all within a year,
a year and a half.
They recorded and released those 3 EPs in the same year and a half.
Yeah, and
so
like I said, because we do all the recording ourselves, like I'm the guy that does all the recording, and I can tell you right now, when Brian had a deadline to get everything done by, it sucked, because I was like, oh shit, I gotta buckle down and I gotta get everyone in the same room and record at the same time, right? But we worked well under pressure, and
it was just sort of the natural progression of things, right? Like after you release like 3 EPs, it's like, okay, it's time to actually like sit down. We've got, because that's kind of like exploring the sound, getting used to like the dynamic of our group and stuff, and then it's like, okay, well, we played a bunch of shows, made a bunch of buzz. Okay, now it's time to sit down and put together some good material. Yeah. So, and
we've already started working on the next one. We haven't released this one yet, and we've already started working on the next one. So it shows how, like, we've got a drive, we've got a goal. We just want to keep on going, just have material every time we can, right? So
How does it feel to have your debut full length be released during, as we mentioned earlier, a pandemic?
So weird.
It's weird, man. It's so weird because, like, we were playing a bunch of shows here last year, and like we played some shows earlier this year, did we not? Yeah, like early. Like
I think one or 2 shows, and one of them was the one where we had to go vocals by ourselves, kind of thing, right?
And then it's like now the scene is, for all intents and purposes, dead, because there's nothing happening. There's like no shows happening, right? Like outwardly. But this is the busiest we've ever been as a band. Like we've got radio play happening in Ireland and in Brazil, and doing this interview with you, and we signed like to that label, to CDN Records. It's like the most things going on with our band that has ever happened, and it's just like,
and we can't do anything about it.
We can't do anything about it. Yeah. So it's crazy. Like we don't even jam that often because we're all, Curtis is out working, I'm working, Newbury's wherever the hell he is right now. Yeah. So it's like,
parts unknown.
It's so weird to have so much buzz going on with the band when you're not being a band, right? You're not planning and playing shows and jamming and stuff all the time, but yet everybody's talking about you apparently. So
rumor has it, at least anyway. Like I get notifications all the time on Facebook. This place played your song. I'm like, they did? Who is this place?
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
So
it's a good feeling.
But at the same time, it's great because if we're able to keep this and generate this kind of momentum during the pandemic, it's just going to make people that much more hungry to get out there and like experience it when it's available. Yeah. So
how do you think your fans are going to feel about the full length when it is released?
I hope they're going to like it. We've released 2 singles right now. Catherine's Braid was the first one, and on Wednesday we just released Gallows Hill. And
performed reaction by Jason himself.
We're not going to talk about that one.
It's great.
That was my vocal premiere. But both singles have had a great reaction from the people in Edmonton that know us, that's come to our shows. Same in Calgary, like people who know us from Calgary and stuff like that. It's a great response. And like Wally said, like the fact that we're getting radio play across the globe, so to speak, right now, we're also getting great responses from that too. So I really hope, like, when everything goes back to normal, whenever that's going to be, that we can hit the stage again, that we start selling tickets and we're sold out within days. Like, that's what I really hope. That's what I want, right?
It's gonna be interesting to see what kind of happens once people get their hands on it, because this is kind of our most widely publicized record. So for most people, this will be their first introduction to Sadistic, and being that we have like those very differing vocals, those kind of like three different vocals on the album, it'll be interesting to see how they perceive it as like a whole. like if they accept it as like a whole thing, or if it's kind of like piecewise, where like some people are just like, oh, I only really like this vocalist or something like that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And then there's the people that have like already know of us and listen to the previous stuff and have that kind of our other frontman. It's always kind of a dicey thing switching vocalists, right? Because you're kind of switching the front presence of your sound. So it'll be interesting to see how people respond to that. Yeah.
But based on the last show we played,
exactly. Like we've had nothing but good response from already. So before it was even a thing,
the best mosh pit we've ever had in our lives.
It was
insane.
Definitely apprehensive of what's going to be.
Like there was a guy carried out because I swear to God he died. I like it was insane. Like I even had to do like the whole like dad thing, like stop the crowd, be like, okay, everyone, pick each other up, look after each other, make sure you're hydrated. It's like shit, people are going to die at our show, and this is the best thing ever. So. I'm hoping that when and that was with our old material too. Like I'm like when we hit the stage with the new stuff, it's going to be insane. So can't wait.
Is there any plans for a release party of any sorts? Because I know a lot of bands nowadays, because of the pandemic, have been doing release parties, but over the internet on live streams. Is that in the plans?
It's funny, we actually just talked about that today.
We were talking about it.
I'm going to have a beer when it's released by myself. I don't know if anyone wants to join me. That'd be great. But
that's not a bad idea. Doing it over a live stream,
just me drinking beer and just farting. It's gonna be awesome.
I don't know. No plans as of yet. I mean, we've been kind of dealing with all the other release details and stuff because the album's not even out yet. So but I guess we got another couple weeks yet before that happens. So maybe we should plan something.
Yeah. Well, we're actually. I think next week we're actually getting together as a full band again, which hasn't happened about a month now. So normally when we do that, that's when we kind of sit down and hash things out. Be like, so how's things? Good. Yeah. Okay. So what do we need to do now? Right. And that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'd be nice too, but we got to see what we can plan between the four of us being in the same room at the same time, right? So.
True.
Yeah.
What is the next step from here?
Onwards and upwards, man.
The next album.
Yeah, been working on the next album.
Yeah.
Promoting this one. Like I think we can. We've been pushing this one so much. I think we'll try and play shows when we can. But I mean, barring that, I guess we'll start working on the next stuff. Because if we can't play shows, we might as well be working on new material. Yeah. But I think we gotta learn the material we have right now. So.
Yeah. That's
we released all that stuff, and we just kind of like, it's like, okay, here's the whole thing. It's out there now. And we just like record it, get it all mixed and mastered and stuff. And it's just like, oh wait, what did we just write?
Yeah, we have no idea what we did. So
what did we just put out there?
It definitely shows our age. You'd be like, so what song is this again? How does this one start? Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that'll be the next step is going to be like getting ready, putting ourselves in playing shape, and like as soon as the COVID doors open, just being like ready to melt some faces.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be chomping at the bit to get to shows and stuff. So we need to be ready to harness that energy. So I think that's the next.
That's true. Like the amount of people that want to go to shows, like you said, it's gonna be incredible because people have missed it so much.
Like we said before, breaking that Alberta bubble, seeing if we can't get some shows outside the province and stuff, and going around. So
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully you make it out my way to the Toronto area one day.
That would be sweet.
Yeah,
that would be sweet.
As long as we don't get a quarantine for 14 days, I guess we'll have to see.
It's true.
Yeah,
True.
Well, that'd be great.
And now it's time to ask the last question that you both do not have any idea what it is. We ask this to all of our first-time guests. We call it the poser question to ensure we're not just talking to two random strangers we randomly accepted on Facebook.
Okay.
Well, that's what you did, right? You just random Facebook.
I don't
know. Do you even have a radio station? You just look like you're some guy in his closet just like, oh yeah, I interview metal bands. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, who's asking the questions now?
I like being in my closet. Wait, no, damn it.
Okay.
Out of context. Jesus Christ.
Well, you're gonna get complaints now. Good job.
Yes.
All right.
But no.
What do you got?
Okay. Who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Good question. Lemmy is God.
Yes.
Actually, it's funny about that. I was hanging out with some of my non-metal friends the other day, and there was a meme that came up, and it was like, they say that you can't recognize somebody by their beard.
And it was a picture of that
And it
guy.
was a picture
no,
of Tom Arrea's
Yeah,
beard.
I was like,
And
yep.
I like showed. I was like, I looked at. I was like, showed it to my friend. He was like, I don't get it. I'm like, it's fucking Slayer, man.
Yeah, it's the most epic beard in the middle. Well,
Yeah.
one of them,
Yeah,
at least.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
It's-
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, gentlemen, thank you so much for the time and for being able to work with me in my difficult work schedule.
It's all
comes up
good,
at-
man.
No, absolutely, for sure.
It's all good. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the people that are going to be watching this on YouTube in Ontario?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Our album's
buy your
out
stuff.
for pre-order. If you go to CDN Records and look up Bloodspell under Sadistic Embodiment, you can pre-order it now. I think it's like $9 or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
$9 on special
like,
right now.
You know, it's cheaper than a Big Mac. So go
That's a pretty good
go
point.
pick it up and you'll enjoy it. So
And
that's
if-
out September 18th.
September 18th.
So,
And if you want to hear our old stuff, go to our Bandcamp, which is Sadistic Embodiment Band Official, or Sadistic Embodiment Official. We'll give Colin the links and he'll post it on his YouTube page. But
yeah.
you can pre-order or you can download our previous EPs and buy some merch, and we'll send it out to you.
Yep.
So
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for the time.
Thank you.
I greatly appreciate it. I know the people watching this greatly appreciate your time as well. Make sure to, like they said, Bloodspell out September 18th. Until next time, everyone, keep on thrashing. Now,